Welcome to another edition of Maritime Gateway Digital Dialogue. Today we have a guest with us, Mr. Harish Pandya, Managing Director, Swift Cargo Private Limited. Swift Cargo was founded in 1992 to provide international logistics services. Currently, the company has offices across 14 cities in India and 2 overseas offices in New York and Los Angeles. Welcome to the show, Mr. Harish Pandya.
Thank you, Ram. Good to be here.
There are many service providers who cater to the international logistics. So how do you define services of your company?
Well, I would define us as both specialists and generalists. I would say the first part specialists because the market knows us as specialists in the India-US trade lane. This could be more so because of our presence of over 20 years having our own offices in the United States, covering both the East Coast and the West Coast. But it's also because of the trust reposed in us over the last 28 years of shippers who have large volumes into the USA. Having said that, we are generalists simply because in our overall volume of over 75,000 TEUs, so obviously we are generalists with a fair degree of prowesses whereby customers trust their cargo to us, not only to North America, but increasingly to the rest of the world.
Let's talk a little bit about India-US specialization. So what is unique about it when you deal with India-US bound cargo? What is the exit cargo that you deal with between these two countries and volumes, and what is your value addition to the customer?
So I'll start with the last part first, Ram, which is the value addition. What does a customer seek in terms of shipment to, let's say, a United States of America? Now, if it is a port-to-port shipment, right, it is commoditized. But if it is shipments which involve commodities that we carry, which is foodstuff, pharmaceuticals, there's a lot of auto parts. So some of these do require specialists in the USA who are able to guide customers, right, shippers over here, as and when the need arises. So we have, as part of our infrastructure in the US, we have our own warehousing, we have our own trucking, and our brokerage department. We are licensed brokers in the US. We have as many as 3 licensed brokers on rolls, including those who are specialists in the commodities that we carry, like foodstuff. So if a customer requires an input, we are there to provide it to them. And this is a deeply informed input that we can provide. There is also a specialization in other areas of handling special cargo. So if there is cargo that comes in, which is very high value pharmaceutical products, they may come by air or they may come by ocean. But the critical part is to be able to handle the last mile for the customer and to be able to deliver that high value cargo with full safety and without excursion, which is a fluctuation beyond the permitted temperature variance that the customer provides. It is be able to deliver this cargo as defined in our SOP. And that's what we are able to do. So these are illustrations which I'm giving you in terms of how we can add value to the customer. In terms of what you said, so what do you really carry? I covered part of it in my answer. The good part for us is that we carry food and pharma, which to a large degree is insulated by circumstances. But there's a lot of stone that we carry. India exports a lot of granite and marble into the United States. We carry auto parts, right? And there are also other engineering goods, which I don't know how many people know that there is equipment that goes for tractors manufactured in the US. We carry that. And a lot of it not only goes from West and South India, a lot of it goes from Calcutta and areas surrounding Calcutta, which again we carry.
A while ago, you mentioned that you handle roughly about 70, 80,000 TEUs. But last few months have been globally, businesses have impacted, and certainly the volumes also have come down. So how is the scenario with you, and what are you looking forward?
Ram, I've been part of discussions with friends, with fellow forwarders and NVOCCs. And I remember the initial discussions also that we had, where my refrain was, keep the faith. We are hoping that there is going to be a rebound. While that rebound may take a while, I must tell you what transpired with us. The month of March is a very, very important month because most shippers try to achieve their year-end targets, and therefore it's a very high volume month. So though the lockdown was in the last week of March, we still ended up doing well in the month of March. We would have done exceedingly well had March not being curtailed. May, understandably, and April, right, was low. April being about 60%, May being about 80%. But the good part is that we kept the faith. We made sure that our vendors and, most important, our employees, right, were safeguarded with full timely payouts. And as a result, in the month of June and July and now August, right, we are on target. We are on a level which we hope to achieve before the annual of COVID.
Out of the key cargo segments that you operate, you mentioned pharma and foodstuff. Because of the current scenario, they are doing well. I understand. But how about others? Textiles was down. Any signs of picking up?
If I were to describe my garment and textile customers from South India and from North India, for us, the Coimbatore, Cochin, Tuticorin belt, right, is pretty rich in terms of export of the commodities that you're talking about. Similarly, there are some hot spots in the north. I believe that those are impacted beyond doubt, and I'm seeing some green shoots happen in that particular segment. Luckily for us, while many of our peers and my competing competitors carry a very large quantity of garments and textiles, again, there's good fortune that it forms a relatively smaller percentage of our volume.
So in the LCL, the consolidated cargo, where do you see the potential in India? Where is the cargo coming from? What do you see the future scenario?
So if I were to first describe, LCL consolidation, I think LCL consolidation depends on your expertise, because there are some very large networks worldwide which end up capturing cargo which is generated by the buyers overseas. As far as Swift is concerned, we have capitalized on our repute and our experience and specialization into North America, into the US. We have 5 cities in India where we close our own boxes into the United States East and West Coast. Starting from Calcutta to Ahmedabad to Nhava Sheva, Mumbai, to Cochin and to Chennai. So these places, we have our customers who have been supportive. So I believe that the future holds only promise for those who can do specializations and volumes, and not those who are going to attempt. So the barriers are going to be greater in the LCL side of the business.
On your website, I was reading a feature, Swift Supreme program. Can you elaborate on that, and what kind of benefits customers get out of it?
Thank you for asking that, Ram. We're very proud of the initiative that came out of our marketing team and the senior management, that how do we give back to our customers? Now, I'm not being a socialist in this at all. What I mean is that if a customer is important, how do we also let him know that, other than lip service and talking? So we had a program which is designed to A, recognize, and B, reward the customer for their loyalty and volume to Swift Cargo. So if a customer is on the Swift Supreme program, and across India, out of our 3,500 live customers, there are close to 200 customers who are Swift Supreme customers. Now, for these customers, of course, there's always been an escalation matrix and a dedicated service person. But by virtue of being a Swift Supreme customer, now he or she has an avenue to a specialist cell, which goes beyond their normal sales and service executive. It is this cell which is geared to respond. For example, the US office at odd hours, odd to us, is fully geared to respond directly to the shipper, right? Should the consignee not be able to interact and the shipper wants to interact. Top customers have been aligned with our agents where we don't have our own offices for an equally quick response. And there is also a give back to the customer, which I mentioned earlier, that based on his volumes, at the end of the month, not only does he get a report card, right, but he actually gets back something that he can discount. He gets back a credit note for what is the volume that he's given us.
Wonderful. So, what are your future plans from here to where?
Well, that's a good but difficult question to answer. The industry, as you know, Ram, more than anyone, by virtue of being in it for so long and having talked to people across the plethoras, ours is the most M&A prone industry in the world. And by virtue of being the most fragmented, it therefore is one where entry barriers are low. New people can come in and people keep coming in and exiting as companies, not as individuals. Our dream has been that if we've been in business for almost 3 decades now, we have so far grown the business in an organic and an orderly manner. We have survived a few crises like the 2008 global financial crisis. Luckily for us, despite our presence in the US, we came out strong. We are currently experiencing another great crisis of the world. But I believe that the route ahead for us is what I told my peers in the early days of COVID, that I think after the slump, there will be a rise. Luckily, we are riding the current slump pretty okay. I think that we will be open to combine with people to create a bigger enterprise.
Mr. Harish Pandya, I wish you all the best. Thank you very much for joining us and sharing your thoughts on the company, the existing business and future plans. Thank you very much.
Pleasure being with you, Ram. Thank you for having me. Bye.